And let's not forget, St Kilda normally have Sam Fisher as their +1, and he is one of the best in the business at playing it.
No doubt. We're into the second quarter now, though, and this time Big Mike gets his fist to it first. Del Santo got 2 cracks at it. Inventive little kick to half forward. And Revolt full of steam with a handball out to Hayes. Breaking loose. Crowd start to get involved again. High ball, top of the square. Goddard, Malcheski.
That could be a free kick.
And was.
Advantage.
Malcheski.
Oh, he's played the advantage, and it's
advantage.
a
Yeah,
goal.
the initial contest. The contest is both holding. Then he grabbed his arm and he's going. Paid a hold. Paid a hold.
I think he was beaten for strength, Nick Malcheski. It was Jack Stephen that just kicked it off the ground at the end, I believe. And it was a good decision by Lenny Hayes. He didn't try and hit the impossible lead-up running at full tilt. He kicked it long to the one-on-one contest. Now, how he can complain when he's got 2 hands dragging down the arm of Brendan Goddard's beyond me. But players find a way to say it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, it's a good start by the Saints, and I think Goddard playing closer to that goal, or even if it's just for a 5 or 10 minute period for the match, just makes them a lot more dangerous.
Not sure if Brendan Goddard was that impressed with Jack Stephen kicking the goal, by the way.
Play on.
Team game, Hunter.
I know.
That's why you got a whistle, umpire.
Lenny Hayes in game number 200. He's had 7 possessions. Josh Kennedy, who started on him. They didn't play the entire first quarter on each other. I know Parker had a go at Hayes at one stage, but they're back doing battle now. Josh Kennedy's had 10 and kicked a goal.
Pike was a hard man to get around that time. Kennedy gets another. Reid versus Gilbert. Engaged him at just the right time there, Gilbert. Terrific defensive play, although it doesn't end that well. High tackle as it does go St Kilda's way.
So just on that occasion, Jason, you had LRT playing the deep forward and you got Sam Reid up the ground.
Jack Stephen goes to Gwilt. He can whisk it out of defence.
In a one-on-one, a long bomb, you'd reckon you'd go to Reid, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Way too ambitious kick from a man coming back into the team.
He shanked a couple thus far. Probably just needs to lower his ambitions and just hit the easier target or the percentage target rather than trying to force the ball, James Gwilt, at the moment.
And he's a very good kick normally. McGlynn guides that one into the path of Reid, but Del Santo anticipated and became a thorn in the side. Not much going on there. The little handball might McVeigh to Reid, who couldn't do much about that. Malcheski. And another ball up.
Even that kick to a contest across the half-forward line, it's just too dangerous for the Swans. I mean, they have in the first quarter, they used the short chip kick, getting the ball a bit closer to the 50 and then getting it in deeper.
Here's Hayes. Back to the middle. Matner rode it pretty well, but Sard intervened for St Kilda, and he's a dangerous man. As we see there, Kazitsky bolting back to the goals is Cripps.
Lost the moment.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Cozzy, from there?
Every chance. He's the best kick for goal in the club. He's been in really good form. Kicked 15 for the year and not many misses, but this was a good get.
No misses, in fact, Jared.
No misses is a hell of a lot like not many misses.
Which does set him up for a fall, but
yes.
Let's hope he can continue here. 15 straight for the season for Justin Kazitsky from 55 metres from downtown. That was always on the cards.
What is happening, and we can notice down here at ground level with the Swans going short and slowly forward, guys, is it's really testing St Kilda's ability to go one-on-one, to get back and defend one-on-one. It's making them honest on every occasion.
Here's Hanbury and Kennedy. Oh, there's Simpkin again. He's got a lot of love from people in footy this year, hasn't he? Simpkin in a short period of time.
We've seen him a few times, Hutto, and he's a complete player for a youngster.
Saw his brother make his debut as well last night.
And did okay, coming on as the sub. O'Keefe to half forward, not well placed in terms of the Swans. Dempster didn't complete the job, but Ray also gets involved, and it's over and out. Margin just 2 points now. Closest it's been since early in the first quarter. Kennedy there, but again we're going to have a ball up. Plenty going on off the ball. They dance around Blake. Hacked it, Milne, look up and he saw some good running.
Dangerous.
Here's Malera this time, Revolt bolts. It's about working where it's going to go. Richards lost it in flight. And now Revolt on his left, working it back, and it looks good to him. Looks good to us. They're in front.
Fast break footy. John Longmire knows that is what the Saints have to play coming into this match with such an unbalanced forward line. They are always, when Koschitzke goes into the ruck, they're going to have to push their whole club up, play Pagan's paddock, and this is exactly what they've done. Riewoldt turns around. He got a nice little bounce. It was a great kick from Malera, but the finish was superb as well. Great goal from a stoppage by the Saints.
You can just see the damage that the St Kilda Football Club are able to impart at centre clearances. 4-0 at this stage, and 2 goals from their 4 is a massive impact on this game.
Well, this time it goes Sydney's way. Kieran Jack to half forward, McGlynn. He'll look to turn and move it. Roberts-Thompson is deep. Kennedy about 40 from goal is another option. O'Keefe's drifting there as well. Goes for Roberts-Thompson. It wasn't a well-placed ball. Maybe in the end he was actually happy to get it out of bounds, which doesn't sound very positive.
No, and I don't think too many of his teammates are overly happy with the direction of the kick.
But clubs these days, they don't mind the stoppage deep in the forward line. It gives you a chance to set up defensively as well, rather than a turnover created.
Well, it is deep. Suddenly the Saints getting some numbers around the footy.
Yeah, once again, the Saints, whilst the ball's at the other end of the ground, are dangerous, because if they get the fast break, there's nobody from Nick Riewoldt, who's about 40 metres from this ball, towards the goals.
Which is what we've seen Sydney do a lot this year as well, getting Lewis Jetta out the back and other players.
And there it is for all to see. You just see how many are involved in this merry-go-round around the ball. Quick kick, quick release from Jack. Oh, somehow it gets through.
Well, that is almost a physical impossibility, a physics impossibility. How you can have to be 25 players around the ball, and it goes to some spare space. He's on his wrong side as far as getting away from the pack is concerned. Have another look. He just drifts off the side. Looks like it might have possibly been David Armitage, who was also free. So they played Russian roulette there, both clubs, and this time the Swans came up trumps.
Ruck knockout from Mike Pike, and the goal kicked by Kieran Jack, which takes Sydney back into the lead here at Etihad Stadium. Bit of a wobbly old bounce. David Blake. Here's Jack again, mining for more footy into the 50 quickly. Reid was fairly dexterous, but Jones was swooping Ray, and he's running, and so are the Saints. They're off. Armitage guiding it out wide. Blake's gone right out to the wing in front of the interchange. He could go back to Jones, who's really busted a gut. Instead, it's Riewoldt in his sights. Help from Milne. Had to get control of the footy. She's up, she's high, she's anyone's ball. Oh, that was clumsy from Parker. And Cripps will have the shot for goal.
That's just trying to do something that you don't normally do. He took off before acceptances, went the massive leap over the top to the big spoil. He just mistimed it completely. It was as much the push from Grundy as it was the leap from Parker that actually took Cripps out of the contest. So he gets an opportunity to have a set shot when really it should have just been a 50-50 ball.
He's good for at least a goal a game normally, is Cripps. And there you go. You can chalk one up to him. And they're all big in contests like this. St Kilda in front again.
David King, you were in charge of looking after Parker's line, and all of a sudden you've got to have a chat to him about what he did wrong there.
Well, I think Jace nailed it by just saying he's trying to do something that is not a strength of his. He's not capable of. Just play the percentages down back. Just help your defenders out with the extra number, but don't try and create something that's not on offer at the moment, because goals are at a premium today, and that was an easy one to give up.
It's a good game of footy at the moment.
Just saw interesting shots of John Longmire. How many times have we seen a coach sit back and shake his head in the coach's box after watching a player do something?
6-2 to 5-4. Bird beats Del Santo to it with the soccer tactics. McVeigh swooping over the top.
Blake's doing a terrific job in the ruck, Jared. He's actually just come for a bit of a break at the moment, but he's had 7 disposals around the grounds, and he's really nullifying the hit-out advantage you'd think the Swans would have.
Koschitzke servicing Armitage. O'Keefe. The hands clear, but couldn't do any damage with them. Parker, a bit of state of origin style stuff there.
Just love that decision moments ago where it looked like the St Kilda player had jumped on it. The ball spilled out. McVeigh dragged it back in, and he said no. Sydney pulled it back in. Terrific umpiring.
Roberts-Thompson, Hayes, Armitage, Cripps. Richards trying to shadow him and cut off the angles. Needed help from Nick Smith. Got it just when he needed to. And that should be enough for the Swans to be on their bike and running. Hanbury, skyscraper to the wing. Reed got pushed in the back by Gilbert. He went with it, but there was some contact.
One that he didn't need to do because he had support from Koschitzke.
Jetta's on the other side of the ground, but take 2 kicks to get. He nearly handballed Stephen Milne,
who was on his way off for a spell.
He called for that, Milne.
Jetta's still dangerous.
Well, Geary's got the job at the moment of keeping him in check.
And he's wisely playing 10 metres goal side of him.
Here's Parker. Goes back to Malcheski again. He could get it, I was going to say, almost to the goal square. Beautifully placed, but even better effort from Geary, who had one eye on Jetta and the other on the footy as he went back to take the mark.
That was the all-time great interception for this match anyway. Not trying to put too fine a point on it, but it was brilliantly read, as you said, because the worry of Jetta, and then he computed that he could get there, and he backed himself in.
Didn't you back at a minimum? The all-time great interception,
interception
for this match.
Yeah, for this match.
I think Leo Barry would have something to say about that, Jared.
Yeah, for this match.
Montagna. Blake in front of Malcheski, and he can be used again here for the Saints. It's a call at centre-half back from Armitage. Starting to get busy in this quarter now. His third disposal was designed for Malira, but the run comes from Ray. Pushing and prodding it into the 50. Bypassing everyone. Jack Stephen had eyes for it all the way through. He got past one, not the second. Goddard there to help out with Revolt. Hurried kick Malira. And they're behind. And this place ready to erupt.
I reckon the Swans fans would have been upset if they kicked the goal because I thought Jack Stephen was caught holding the ball. That's the terrific courage of Jaron Geary going back with the flight. But he had 2 cracks at it, Jack Stephen, then got up and had the ball stripped again, and still it was play on.
Yeah, he's lucky to get away with that one. And the Swans in the end were lucky as well.
So Reece Shaw tries to initiate a bit of dash with a couple of bounces. Now, have they got numbers to really work here? Oh, that is a speculative handball at best. Danger as far as Sydney are concerned. Gwilt, Revolt, crossed it straight back up. Johnson hacks it. Hacked it perfectly.
Just steadier here, the Swans. The Saints have applied a hell of a lot more pressure in this last 5 minutes, and they're creating a lot of disposals that are setting up the Swans for failure.
Josh Kennedy having a spell forward for the Swans, not always just coming off and sitting on the bench, and Simpkins picking him up. He's virtually playing full forward, Josh Kennedy.
Interesting call, that one. Montagna. Here's Revolt. He's got away. He'll take it.
Well, they're just getting the ball much better into their forward line than at the other end of the ground. The Swans are going in slowly, trying to find a way forward through a maze of players. And yet, on this counter-attack, the Saints are setting up blokes like Riewoldt to run onto it, or some of their sharper, shorter players to run into space.
Took the initiative on the lead. Here's the kick. It's going. It's gone. Two in the quarter for Nick Riewoldt, and suddenly the Saints lead by 11.
Such an important player for St Kilda, Nick Riewoldt. We haven't seen him dominate games for a long time, really cut them apart, and that's a lot to do with the way the game's played these days. But given enough space, he's so hard to match up on. He just beats Ted Richards, who wasn't quite sure about the ball. He didn't go at flat stick straight off the mark, Ted Richards, as though he's expecting help to come back.
Just a big quarter by the Saints now, 4-2 to 1 straight. 6 inside 50s to 3. And they're winning the contested possession to 16 to 11 And another clearance goes their way. Hayes, bouncing ball. Nick Smith was onto it sharply into the middle. Good kick. Jude Bolton needs to get involved. They need to maintain some possession. I know they need a goal, but they need to just be able to hang on to the footy at the very least, and they just can't do that at the moment.
Well, that's the wrong bloke to hand pass back to in the corridor, Mike Pike. He's not the bloke that should be distributing the footy for Sydney.
But they had the opportunity to play some fast footy, get a fast entry.
Oh, Jack Steven, lace out to Riewoldt. Ted Richards getting lost time and time again. Then it was another block.
Yeah, quite often Justin Koschitzke will lead back through Nick Riewoldt and his opponent just to open up the space, put some doubt or a false step in the minds of the defenders. You can just see here he's keeping an eye on him, and there's a little bit of a brush from Koschitzke, and that opens it up. Terrific selfless team play from Justin Koschitzke, just making life a bit easier for Nick Riewoldt. And then he does that. It was a bad ball drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't strike it well. Geez, I love the kick of Jack Steven, though. It was a bullet. And the Swans' little slow play is starting to hurt them now.
Well, Malcheski again. Less than perfect little dish. Back again to Steven. He's creating havoc.
Play on.
Well, that was the call, and as it turned out, it was to their disadvantage. Quick kick on Tagner to the square. Oh, Nick Smith didn't do enough. Touch, though.
I'd like to have a look at that before I say anything, Jared.
It wasn't his best effort. And they got away with another one here, the Swans.
Oh, that's not great. Won't like it when he sees it, but no damage done. Needs to bounce back at the next contest.
Well, they are right on the back foot here, the Swans. Malcheski heaved it away. Dempster didn't complete the job. Jack.
Need to find a way to get Lewis Jetta into this game at the moment. He's just coming back on the ground now, and he's only had the 3 disposals for the whole game. I think maybe even looking at half-back flank might suit him at the moment.
Yeah. None in this quarter. Montagna, high ball again. Koschitzke, Riewoldt, they're both there. At ground level, Saad was ready to take it. Malcheski got assaulted from each side, and he is gone.
Great pressure from the Saints forward. I'm not sure that Malcheski ever had any opportunity to get rid of it, but nevertheless, he had a swarm of Saints players all over him. Not sure where the prior opportunity was under any set of circumstances, but he still didn't even try and attempt to get rid of the ball.
I think what the umpires will say, and it's questionable whether there was high contact there. He was half ducking, but he was under siege from every angle. And I think they say once you've evaded the first tackle, that's your prior opportunity gone.
But was Saad's tackle legal? That would be the question. Anyway,
and the 2 or 3 that follow.
Well, he's right in front, and this to take them to a 19-point lead. An amazing quarter by St Kilda. Saad puts it through. And they have taken command of this game, the Saints.
Well, 5 goals to 1 in the second term. That is extremely impressive. There's the kick going in. Just a good old-fashioned spoil and contest, and then one slips over the top. Another in the... All 3 of them actually looked high at different stages.
All looked high. They all were high. In fact, he was decapitated. And he had no prior opportunity. Really interesting one for review, that decision.
Probably entitled to feel hardly done by when you have a look at that. Nick Malcheski. But, Jared, you brought up the jet fighter prior to the game. He's doing the job, isn't he, Sean Dempster?
He is. He's really doing it. I think really it's not helping, though, just how slowly the Swans are moving the ball when they get possession.
Johnson to Jack.
Get it in there and get some pressure on the defenders of the Saints.
Nice anticipation from Ray. One step ahead, takes it out to the wing, to Armitage. And Tagner will run for him. He ignores that for the moment.
And the Swans have gone back to putting an extra behind the ball. This time it's Ryan O'Keefe who did the same role against the Tigers and got them right back in the game.
Milne the focus this time, and he very nearly marked it against Smith.
Yes, they were really well beaten in the first half against the Tigers a few weeks ago. They put Bolton and O'Keefe behind the ball, got the run going, didn't win the game, but got back into it. They need that to happen again right now.
So another ball up required. 7.5 minutes remaining, and Sydney need to land a blow of some sort in this quarter. The Saints are red hot at the moment. Kennedy, all hands on deck for the Swans. So they're going to free here on the wing.
Sam, yeah.
David Armitage having a really good quarter for the Saints. He's a player that just continues to improve slowly. His graph goes up, and he's having a pretty fair year so far. Jack Steven also was another one who's had plenty of the ball.
Steven came from the side. He's got a couple of goals to his name. The lack of forward targets, though, for Sydney is really hurting them at the moment.
Good option. Good option to switch.
Graham, and they're out this side. Dempster. Options were sprouting everywhere, but they've held him up a little. When Jones has got his balance, he's got Simpkins short.
Lenny Hayes in space at the moment as well.
And they've got more reinforcements. This is Armitage off for another trot on the City side here of Etihad Stadium. Kazitsky, and he rode it pretty well against Grundy, but the boundary line was a factor that he couldn't anticipate at Tadipans.
Well, they're just totally on top in this match right now, St Kilda. They're just playing the game as they want it played. They've got a much more dangerous looking forward line, and it's hard to see where the next Sydney goal's coming from.
Jack and Bolton and McLean, and then another Sydney error. Revolt, Stephen, Cripps knows his way around goal, but misses there.
One of the other things that's become very noticeable in the second term, we spoke about the kicking efficiency in the first quarter for St Kilda. It was down at 52%. They've lifted it in the second term to 69%.
Just not getting the footy, though. The Swans, they've only had the ball 38 times this quarter, and the Saints have had it 65.
Well, they're giving it back to them again here. Cripps, good tackling, but waved on, let them play. Malira, is he gone for holding the ball?
Got to learn to do the simple things, Terry Malira.
And the Swans fans and players getting a little animated towards the umpire. That was appeared to be clapped. That decision by a couple of the players. Little short pass from Hanbury goes to McVeigh. Kennedy powering on down the ground to give them some sort of angle to goal. Walsh hasn't been a factor, unfortunately, in his second game for them. And Roberts Thompson, the resting ruckman, when he's gone forward, also hasn't really been able to touch it.
That was Jared McVeigh's first kick for the quarter. Clint Jones doing a good job there.
Yeah, they're just off their tucker in this quarter, the Swans. And it's a lot to do with the relentless pressure being applied by the Saints. And that's a fine line as well, out of the full.
Really falling apart here now for Sydney. They've just got to hold on and get to this half-time siren without the scoreboard looking too much more damaging.
One of the biggest roars ever for a chest mark to Lenny Hayes. Kicks it into the forward pocket. Grundy and Mattner, his partner in crime, and now they can bolt. He's been running like that for 200 games of AFL footy, providing good overlap, but you can sometimes just be a little unsure where he's headed. Long kick, Sard. Goal square meal outnumbered, outbodied, outsized, and Grundy does it pretty comfortably.
Well, Marty Mattner was on the break, but there was just nothing forward for him to go to. So the Swans aren't working hard enough. It always comes down to that. Everybody saw him breaking, and yet nobody forward of the centre pushed over to his side to give him a target.
I think they could use Lewis Jetta at full forward, just for that player there to break into space, to give them a small target, but a target nonetheless.
McLean's kick out to the wing, farmed off to Gilbert. He's prepared to go into the middle. Graham has to react quickly. Didn't react too well. Mattner gives it to Jetta, who wasn't ready for it, and it wasn't that well placed for him either. Gilbert, and now they're off again. Armitage indulges in a bounce. Kazitsky's coming. He's got it! No! Very nearly. Bird. Still dangerous for the Swans. Richards, McVeigh in front, can't afford to relax. Jones closed it out. Goddard, Johnson, Jones. Graham just got a little scrappy around the edges there, the Saints. They had a wonderful quarter though. That's holding the ball.
Well, we can say Sydney's got to find a way to get Lewis Jetta into the game. He's got to find a way to get himself as well. He's just starting to drop the head. His frustration after that hand pass missed him. He just stopped and dropped the head and thought, not my day.
Gee, they're taking some very ordinary decisions at the moment, the Swans. It's a good tackle under the circumstances. It's a ball up.
And credit to St Kilda's pressure for some of those decisions,
no doubt.
because they don't have the time and the poise to hit those targets like they normally do.
How often have we seen them kick short to a target who they think's on their own, but by the time the ball gets there, they're not.
They've got a blood rule here, Jaron Geary.
Gengy, you spoke about the half-back line for St Kilda in the first quarter. You could argue the same for the Swans in this term.
Yeah, they've lost their way. I know Matner lost his way charging out of the back half about 3 minutes ago, but I think they need someone to just break the sequence of what's happening now, just that slow, predictable exiting patterns that they're stuck in now. I'd like to see him just take the game on.
That's a head clash. Jaron Geary on Alex Johnson. Well, he's come off second best. Plenty of claret flowing.
Well, the whole midfield's been taken to the cleaners in this term. The Saints, probably Kieran Jack, the only one who's been reasonable. Daniel Hannabury's had a little bit of the ball, but the others have really just been absolutely outpointed by the Saints.
And here they go again, skipping through Del Santo. McVeigh, oh, he read it perfectly, but then dropped the mark. As you said, Jared, half-time cannot come quick enough for the Swans. It's going to take some work. And Geary. Hayes laying a tackle. Number 2 for tackles in the AFL competition.
We spoke about the battle between Hayes and Kennedy in the first term. Josh Kennedy had 10 possessions and kicked a goal in the first term. Just the 3 possessions he scored up. Lenny Hayes has now gone from 7 to 12 and starting to get involved a bit more.
Goddard, a couple of big touches there. Del Santo, again, Swans seem to know where the ball's going and they're getting plenty of numbers there, but they haven't been overly clean. Jetta does have the footy, but he's a long, long way from the position to do some damage. Hannabury, now we know Revolt loves this situation. He worked out that it's going to be hard to mark it.
And there's frustration from Daniel Hannabury saying, keep it lower.
Yeah, well, the
no good up there.
The game is just being played in the Saints forward half. It's a matter of really just holding back the flood at the moment.
Stunning transformation in this second quarter, really, on what we saw in the opening turn. Mike Pike, bit of a solo act there. But that's where it ends.
They cannot get it past this centre line.
Dempster. Grundy did a pretty good job. And almost got it safely through to a teammate, but not quite.
They've had the last 7 inside 50s. They're under siege here, the Saints, putting the absolute sword to the Swannies' defence. And they're doing a great job to actually keep this relatively close to 20-point margin at the moment.
Pike. Bit of an armchair ride there for O'Keefe. Malcheski. Here's this position again. Numerical advantage is with the Saints, and once again that's the way it goes.
Well, Sam Reid got bustled out of it too easily. He's got to push back, use his legs and get that ball on the ground.
Now can I close them out with a bit of a fluky bounce here? Not really. Graham's able to find Blake and use Graham again. Next up off the line, Saad. McVeigh dug deep and takes it over and out. So a minute 40 to work with here. It's a good point. It could all almost be gone by now if they'd kicked a couple more goals, the Saints. But it's 20 points, and maybe Sydney could snatch one late in the half. I'm sure the Saints would dearly love one more as well. Minute 33 now. Armitage just had 14 disposals to be the game high. 12 to Stephen, Hayes and Ray for the Saints. 13 to McVeigh and Kennedy, and 12 disposals to Jack. Close on half-time. Oh, Bird feel the pressure. And Stephen again has played a wonderful first half. Montagna, Milnes there deep, Revolt's there as well. Grundy's given away a free.
Well, they both went to engage, and the stronger man who was better balanced won it. And John Longmire can't believe it. He's just saying the two of them went to bump into each other side on. Revolt comes back and he goes to make call. He's got his eyes on the ball. So is Grundy, but he doesn't really go forward. He just holds his position. Grundy.
That was a dud decision. But Nick Riewoldt gets the opportunity to capitalise.
He does, but he doesn't take it.
It's interesting because the umpire had the front on view, so he could quite clearly see that it wasn't in the back. But
kicked a couple of good goals, Nick Riewoldt, but missed 2 very kickable ones as well.
McVeigh finds Bolt. 30 seconds only remaining in the half. Been an outstanding second quarter by St Kilda. It's all set up. Pike with a big fly, but it's St Kilda with the last hurrah, perhaps. Simpkin, Cripps. We've got 15 seconds on the clock, and out of bounds on the foot.
Well, the Swans will go in with a negative and a positive. They'll go in knowing that they've played a shocking quarter of footy, but the scoreboard says that the positive is they're not out of it. And St Kilda will just go in absolutely pumped full of confidence, I think, because they've played a fantastic quarter. They haven't put the Swans away, and they may well have been able to do that. But they'll go in and know the same sort of effort will get them 4 points.
So it's half-time after a blistering second term from the Saints. The Swans fans aren't very happy with it. A couple of umpiring decisions that didn't go their way. But Lenny Hayes in game number 250, 12 disposals so far. And as we said, there's a lot of love for Lenny.